Hello! Are you a people pleaser? Because if you are, join the club. I would say I'm a people pleaser in remission, and we usually use this term remission to refer to people that are undergoing some sort of treatment, say cancer treatment, for instance, and then when they are in remission, it means that they are recovering from that illness. The illness might come back, but during that period, they are in remission. And I think we have a similar term in Portuguese to describe this period. And if you work in the health area, my apologies if I didn't describe precisely. I'm terrible when it comes to medical vocabulary and search, and this is something I'm definitely working on at the moment. And also apologies for the pop-ups. See, I'm a people pleaser. I'm always apologizing. Well, I'm really interested in this topic, and I think this is so topical. It's such an interesting and relevant topic these days. I think many of us, especially millennials, we are people pleasers. We are always we find it really hard to say no to people because of our upbringing, perhaps, or maybe because we are introverts, and introverts, they are more prone to struggle with saying no, for instance. And I don't think I'm that introverted. I think I have an introverted side. But I don't think I'm on the other side of the spectrum either. I wouldn't call myself as an extrovert. But anyway, I think I'm in the middle, and I find really hard. I want to protect people's feelings, and it's something so funny because I was raised by a woman, my mother, who I love so much, and she is blunt. She's blunt. She has no filter whatsoever. So if you ask her, for example, if you go to her and you ask her, can I borrow your pen? And if she likes that pen very much, she's going to say straight to your face, no. And she won't even explain why she's saying no. Whereas me, if I want to say no, well, first of all, in the first 30 years of my life, it's very likely that I would say yes. But now I'm almost 36. But when I started to change when I was 30 or something. And then I made a vow to myself that I would say more no, because I was saying yes to myself. But it's funny because when somebody asks me something, for example, can I borrow your pen? I would say, I am sorry, I really like this pen. I really don't want to lend you this pen. I'm so sorry. I'm always apologetic. And this is something I'm trying to change. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be like my mum, even though I love her. It's just because it's not my personality. She's blunt. She pulls no punches, to say what she's feeling. But I think I want to be able to say no and not feel remorseful after that, So this was the preamble of this lovely text. And now I'm going to read a little bit about people pleasing. I came across this article a few weeks ago before I went on holiday, and it really hit home. It's so relatable, and if you are a people pleaser like myself, I think you're going to find the same. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the text. I'm going to talk about some bits of pronunciation, some bits of vocabulary that you might not be familiar with. And this video is obviously aimed at more advanced students, but if you are on an intermediate level, this might be good for you as well. So the title reads, I stopped lying to people please. I stopped lying to please people. Sorry, I stopped lying to please people, and I've never felt more free. Radical honesty isn't for the faint-hearted, but it's one of the greatest joys I've ever discovered. So faint-hearted is someone that is not very brave, is not very courageous. So yes, it's true. My mom, I find her really brave, because if she has to say no, she does it with, her eyes closed, like, nope. And part of me really admires her, and she really doesn't care about other people's feelings, which some people might see as selfish, but I don't really think it's selfish. It's the way she is. Now, I never used to think of myself as a liar. I always saw myself as an honest person. The only time I'd ever veer from the truth was to protect someone's feelings. But that wasn't really lying. But that wasn't really lying, I would tell myself. It was an act of kindness. So to veer from is very similar to steer away from. So when you're driving, you're steering, and if you steer away, you're veering away. And then I had a therapy session where I realized that all of this was actually people pleasing behavior. And it turned out I was a prolific liar. Not only that, but according to my therapist, by constantly hiding my true feelings to protect those I loved, I was blocking them from ever getting to know the real me and creating true intimacy. And this is another problem, because I see myself so much in that. Many people, they think they know me, but they don't really know me because I don't show my real self to many people, because I'm always scared of when they see the real me, because to be honest, I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy on a daily basis. I'm grumpy. I'm not a person that smiles easily. And many people are taken aback when I tell them these things, because they always see me smiling. I make jokes. I like to make jokes. I like to make an impression of other people. But on a daily basis, in everyday life, and I'm actually quite serious. I'm like this, right? So slowly, I realized that every time I pretended I loved that thing my partner did, or lied about how fun it would be to go away for a friend's birthday, or forced myself on yet another hen do, I was lying. I was prioritizing everyone else over myself, and it meant that inside I was raging with resentment. So hen do, if you are not aware what this is, hen do, when you get married, before you get married, you celebrate with your friends. And if you are a woman, you celebrate with your girlfriends. And if you are a man, you celebrate with your male friends. But for male, it's called stag do. So do is a synonym for party, and stag do for men, hen do for women. And I was prioritizing everyone over myself. So pay attention to the preposition is literally you're prioritizing everyone over yourself. And I was raging. It's in italics here. Like I was raging with resentment. That's me in a nutshell. I resented so many people in the past because of that. I knew something had to change. So in that moment, I vowed I would never tell any lie. I vowed I would never tell another lie again. Not a single one. Even a white lie. A white lie is those small lies that you tell other people when you don't want to do stuff. For example, when you see other Brazilians, you say, a gente vai se encontrar de novo, com certeza, isso aí. Sometimes you don't want to see that person again, but we say these things. Vamos marcar, yeah? I was done abandoning my own needs and hiding myself from my loved ones. It was time to show them the real me. That was 2 years ago, and I haven't lied since. I've wanted to, especially when it involves admitting something I find embarrassing, like being a yoga teacher who can't do an unsupported handstand, or when I've had to let someone down. I've been racked with guilt after cancelling on people without the overly long made up apology texts I used to send, instead simply admitting I'm not feeling up to it. And I've made mistakes, telling white lies, then realizing what I've done. Sorry, I just accidentally lied. I haven't actually read your book, but I do want to. So she's saying here that she wanted to admit embarrassing things about herself, but she was afraid, and I was afraid too. For example, I have been an English teacher for a long time, but I don't think my English was, oh my God, 10% of what my English is now, and I still need to improve. So I was so embarrassed to tell people this, to admit to them that, look, I need to improve. I really don't know this or that, and because I was scared of the judgment. And I was racked with guilt, after cancelling on people without the overly long made-up apology. Made-up apology, you are making things up not to do something. So if somebody invites you to a party on Saturday and the weather is like it is today, completely shite, pardon my French, I would say no today. But 10 years ago, I'm not sure. I think I would go and I would resent the person and everything, around me. Okay. It was particularly hard at the start. It would take me hours to reply to, "Do you fancy a coffee?" text, when my answer was no. I would agonize over whether it was true to say, "Sorry, I can't," eventually settling on, "I'm not available, but I will let you know when I am," followed by an excessive number of emojis to soften the blow. Be careful with the pronunciation of this word. The T is silent. So you see, that's what I used to do. So you soften the blow, you send loads of emojis just to feel less guilty. And I would squirm like a worm. I would squirm with discomfort every time I had to tell somebody something I knew they didn't want to hear. From small things like confessing that I couldn't eat the dessert they had just made me because it contained gluten. Previously, I would have lied or forced myself to eat it, or telling a friend I didn't have the space to see them that week or the week after. But gradually, I realized I didn't actually know what they wanted to hear, and I never had done at all, because more often than not, I would cancel on friends, and instead of being disappointed, they would be thrilled, replying, "Oh, great, I wasn't feeling up to it either." So look how funny this is, and this is also true. People pleasers, they think they know what other people are thinking, but very often you don't. They don't. I don't. Because in this particular occasion, she said, "Look, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to this party that you invited me to." And they would say, "Oh my God," they were thrilled. "Oh, thank God. Great, Haiza. I wasn't feeling up to it either. Like, I'm not in the mood for it. Thank God you cancelled." So this is something that happened to me too. It's true. Once I did something I had, this D is I had, not the D of I would. Okay, so be careful with the apostrophe D. I had never imagined I was capable of. I told a once close friend that I felt we had been growing apart, and perhaps it was best if we stopped seeing each other. I expected her to be devastated or furious. The reality? She was relieved. She was relieved I would call it out so we could stop flogging a dead horse. Call it out, that I would bring this topic, I would bring up this topic. And she said, "Thank you for doing that. Let's go our separate ways as friends. I don't want to be friends with you anymore because, yeah, really, we are flogging a dead horse. A gente tá dando murro em ponta de faca." By telling the truth, I wasn't, as I had falsely believed before, pushing people away until I was left completely alone, my greatest fear. If anything, I was becoming closer to those I really connected with and gently letting go of those I didn't. Some did initially struggle because they weren't used to my honesty, whether it was me giving a candid opinion on their new ASOS purchase or voicing how hard I found it when they flaked on plans last minute. So a candid opinion is an honest opinion. And if you voice something, it means if you are very vocal about something, or if you voice something, it means that you are very clear, you're very outspoken about something. You are being opinionated, but not in a bad way. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. But for example, if somebody cancelled the plans they had with me, and if I'm upset and I'm voicing this to them, I can say, "Look, I'm really upset. I'm really cross that you flaked on me." So to flake on someone is to cancel plans last minute. And I already mentioned this on Instagram. Flaky is someone that is always canceling plans. It doesn't mean that if the person flaked on you once, this doesn't mean that the person is flaky. But they can be, I don't know. But just so you know, this is a very interesting vocabulary. Slowly, people began to express their gratitude for my newfound honesty, and I'll never forget the first time a friend thanked me for it. I feel so safe in our relationship because I don't have to second guess anything. I don't have to rethink what I'm going to say. I don't have to tiptoe. I know I've upset you. I know if I've upset you because you will just tell me. And that was when I truly saw what I had been denying myself in all those years of lying, the chance to be accepted for who I am. My friends wouldn't leave me if I told the truth. They would simply trust me. Look how beautiful this is. I mean, life-changing, really. My experience inspired me to write a children's novel about a girl who couldn't lie. I've dedicated it to my younger self, and I hope it encourages a new generation to do what I've just learned, to tell the truth. Radical honesty isn't for the faint-hearted. I've had to face my greatest fears and feel the shame, guilt, and discomfort that arise from having difficult conversations. But it's one of the greatest joys I've ever discovered. I've learned that there is no need to lie. There is always a kind way to tell the truth. And if necessary, I can always say I would rather not answer any question being asked of me. Because the alternative is no longer an option. Lying is a disservice to myself and to the person on the receiving end. On the receiving end is the interlocutor, is the person on the other side of the coin, so to speak. So it's why I'm fully committed to maintaining my vow of honesty. I have no idea where it will take me, and I'm sure many more awkward conversations await me, but at least I'll always be living a lie of total authenticity. Authenticity. I hope this text resonated with you. And before I play stop, the difference between pushover and people pleasing is that a person that is a pushover is someone that doesn't have a strong personality. It's not exactly that, but a person that is always saying yes to things because they don't really have an opinion about stuff. So if you don't really have an opinion, then you say yes to everything because you don't, you just follow what everyone else is asking of you. And a people pleaser knows what they want, but is a defense mechanism. They are trying to protect themselves and they are trying to protect other people. So they are trying not to have conflict. So they are trying to avoid conflict. And so these are two very different things, being a people pleaser and being a pushover. So be careful with these two words. I'll just quickly show you here, pushover meaning. And we have a person who is easy to overcome or influence. So even though sometimes a people pleaser might look like a pushover, this doesn't mean they are such, So be careful with that. And well, there are so many things I would like to talk about this topic, but I'm running out of time. Let me know how you find it. Are you a people pleaser? Are you a people pleaser in remission like myself? And what have you done over the years or over the past few weeks or days to stop being a people pleaser and saying yes to yourself rather than other people? Think about it. Not being a people pleaser is not for the faint-hearted, and I would like to think that I'm not faint-hearted, Anyway, I'll see you soon. Have a lovely weekend.